the Nutcracker. It was Christmas Eve. The big Christmas tree in the parlor, decorated with golden apples, walnuts, and colored candy, sparkled with candles. Marie and her brother Fritz found lots of presents from Mama and Papa under the tree. Maria was delighted with her porcelain doll, silk dress, and picture books, while Fritz immediately went to sit on his new rocking horse and galloped off across the room, commanding a troop of hussars. But the most unusual gifts always came from the children's godfather, the great inventor and watchmaker, Drosselmeyer. This year, he had made them an ingenious mechanical castle and an intriguing wooden doll. He's called the Nutcracker. He will crack nuts for you, the godfather said. Marie liked the Nutcracker immediately, even though he was a little ungainly with his big head and small body. But he had kind eyes. "Well, let's see what he can do." Fritz was the first to grab the Nutcracker and began to stuff the biggest and hardest nut into his mouth. Crack! One of the Nutcracker's teeth fell out. "He's rubbish. He can't do anything," said Fritz, pushing the toy aside. "Poor dear Nutcracker," lamented Marie, taking him in her arms to care for him and fix him. In the evening, when Marie was lying in her bed, her godfather popped in. "Let's fix that Nutcracker of yours," he said, and skillfully put the tooth back in place. Marie was delighted and hugged the Nutcracker to her chest. "I'm glad that you are so kind to him," said her godfather. "The fact is that he wasn't always made of wood. The evil Mouse Queen cast a spell on him, and now her son, the terrible Mouse King, is pursuing him." "Oh, poor Nutcracker! But why don't you help him, godfather?" "It's not in my power," sighed Drosselmeyer. "But perhaps my kind and constant Marie, you will manage it?" That night, Marie was woken by rustling and squeaking, the pitter-patter of tiny paws on the other side of the wall. The girl hung off the edge of her bed. Through cracks in the floor, thousands of bright eyes were looking at her. Marie screamed, and out came the mice, hordes of them. Their screams gave Marie goosebumps. The Nutcracker leaped out of the toy cupboard and, swinging a saber, commanded, "Platoon, fall in! Onward into battle!" The toy hussars raised their sabers, loaded their guns, and marched toward the mouse army. Sabers were clanging, cannons were thundering, a hail of lollipop shells fell upon the mice. The toys fought bravely, but the mice just kept on coming. Victory hung in the balance. Yet the worst was still to come. In the midst of the battle, the evil Mouse King emerged from a hole in the wall, showing his razor-sharp teeth, and hurled himself at the Nutcracker. There was nowhere to run. Marie's heart skipped a beat in horror. The mice surrounded the Nutcracker, and the Mouse King raised his saber over him. "Oh no, my dear Nutcracker, I will not abandon you in harm's way," cried Marie. She took off her slipper, and with all her might she launched it straight at the Mouse King. With that one blow, the Mouse King came crashing down and crumbled into dust. His pointy teeth and the golden crowns he wore on each one of his heads flashed in the darkness. Without their leader, the mice squeaked and fled. The Nutcracker was safe and sound. The toys celebrated their victory. "My dear Marie," said the Nutcracker, "you saved my life, and I will be eternally grateful to you. Allow me to show you my kingdom. You really must come to visit." "I would love to," agreed Marie. Remembering it was the middle of the night, she added, but only if it's not too far away, and just for a little while." "I'll choose the shortest route," promised the Nutcracker. The doors of the cupboard swung open. With bated breath, Marie stepped into fairyland after the Nutcracker. "Oh, it's wonderful here," Marie exclaimed. They were in a magical forest, and sparkling sugar crystals crunched under their feet. Sweetmeats hung on candy Christmas trees, and the air smelled of gingerbread and oranges. In the distance was a castle, remarkably similar to the one that Drosselmeyer had made, and a cozy gingerbread town lay at the bottom of a hill. "We are in Christmas Forest," said the Nutcracker, and Marie discovered that the figure beside her was not a wooden toy, but a handsome young man. He gestured at the land. "Over there is Candyland and my marzipan castle. My subjects will be so glad to meet you and arrange a ball in your honor." Marie laughed with joy, and they set off together towards Marzipan Castle. On the way, Marie caught the scent of roses and beheld the amazing Rose Lake, swans with gold ribbons tied around their necks, gliding across the surface. The Nutcracker clapped his hands, and a pack of golden dolphins rose from the pink water, pulling a huge shell set with precious stones. It transported Marie and the Nutcracker across the magical waves and to the opposite shore. There, behind gates made of almond cookies, sparkled the pink and white Marzipan Castle. The silver soldiers saluted while the town's residents gathered in Caramel Square beside the lemonade fountain and joyfully greeted the Nutcracker and his guest. "Welcome, our dear prince!" The Nutcracker took Marie's arm, and they entered Marzipan Castle, where everything was ready for the celebration. Hundreds of gold stars glittered under the ceiling. A gentle music played, and guests from all over the kingdom feasted on wondrous fruits and sweets. Marie and the Nutcracker danced with the other guests, and the magical celebration seemed to go on all night. In the morning, Marie woke up in her own bed back home. Her mama entered the room and said, "How can you sleep for so long? Breakfast is on the table, and Drosselmeyer's young nephew has arrived." When Marie came down to breakfast, sad that the wonderful adventure in Marzipan Castle was over, she was astonished to find that Drosselmeyer's nephew was none other than the handsome young man and her dear Nutcracker.